As if things could not get worse with the Star Wars universe. It does. All right. Kathleen Kennedy, she's bad. Well, just wait till you see who she has appointed to direct the next Star Wars movie. Insert politics. Insert woke ideology. Insert activism. Oh, I moved my camera and I forgot to move it back. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Anna, that Star Wars girl, which by the way, she has a YouTube channel as well. Definitely check her out. I love Anna. So she shared this video. She said, this is the woman Kathleen Kennedy handpicked to direct the next Star Wars movie. It's doomed. You know, it's not like the last 3 movies gave us hope for the future of Star Wars or anything, or it's not like the last season of The Mandalorian or Andor or that Ahsoka garbage. It's not like any of that gave us hope for Star Wars anyway, but I think they're just like, wait a minute, how can we make bad worse? How can we do that? Well, we're going to find out. Here she is.
I think at the heart of everything, I am a storyteller and an activist. And my body of work over the last 20 years has been guided by my activism.
Fine. You know, it's not like we're already sick and tired of all these movies, all these TV shows, all this modern, current Western entertainment inserting activism, which I have a lot of opinions about that I'll share here in a minute. But we're already sick of that. Like, just watch old entertainment, watch older movies, or even, from the 90s, for example, or before, or even a little bit after, where movies actually focused on just being fun. They focused on a creative, original story, and it's gotten so out of hand with this activism that has seeped into video games, that have seeped into comics. And you have to, it just begs the question of why. Why is there such a priority of activism in media? And I have a lot of opinions about that, but let's continue watching. First of all, I mean, does this or does this not look like a Queers for Palestine person? Just saying. All right, let's continue.
And every single piece of work that I've ever created has a piece of activism in it. It could be very overt or it could be covert. But
that's a lot of ways how these activists like to operate. Sometimes it is completely in your face. Sometimes it's not. Again, I'm going to have a lot more anecdotes to add.
But it is there. And I think that as a storyteller, I'm not sure if all of you know this, but I'm not a trained filmmaker. So I never went to film school. I went to Smith College and did my undergrad.
So how does somebody get picked for Star Wars? Star Wars, one of the biggest IPs of all time. One of the most expensive on top of it all. How does somebody with no training, no history, or at least no substantial impressive portfolio, how do they just pick a rando out of nowhere to handle something so massive? It's just makes no sense.
Graduate and studied economics and political science like a good Pakistani girl. And then I did my graduate studies, but also in international politics. And so I am an accidental filmmaker. Thing at the heart of everything.
An accidental filmmaker. So an accidental filmmaker gets to be in charge of Star Wars. Again, one of the biggest IPs of all time. What kind of fluke is that? This has been par for the course in what we've seen in the entertainment space. Like I said, comics, movies, TV shows, video games, all that. And especially we're seeing a rise of it in the nerd spaces. That's because the nerd spaces, the nerds have risen up, right? The mainstream have, we used to, us and our nerdy hobbies, we were made fun of for it and we weren't cool. But the mainstream wanted a piece of that pie once we started rising up and once we started buying this stuff. Because, let's face it, nerds really, we put money into things that we like. And it's funny because my brother was just saying over Christmas holiday, for example, he's like, yeah, the fun thing about buying gifts for nerds is that nerds are super easy to buy for. You just get us something from something we like. You can get any, even with anime, comics, video games, those properties we really like. If someone buys us something or we're buying something for another nerd, that is okay. Here's an action figure of a character you like, or here's a pillowcase of something that you like, which was funny. I got my sister-in-law like this Skyrim pillowcase where he's like, oh, you're awake. Things like that. Nerds are super easy to buy for. We really support the things that we love, right? We're buying the merch. We're buying the all the things, right? And so once they saw, hey, this is a profitable space, and they've just completely hijacked it, and they've inserted their own politics into things, and they've tried to insert their own message. In this case, look at this. We've got women that have taken over, and this in turn is not good for women. This is bad for women, right? It's to the point to where if I was in charge of a company and stuff, I would be apprehensive to hire a woman at all, because you just think they're all like this. You think they're all like those Anita Sarkeesians who don't even care about what they are in charge of, but they just want to ruin it. They don't want other people to enjoy something that they don't like, so they have to change it, and they have to insert their own ideologies and their own politics, their own message into it. And then once those things crash and burn and they're not successful anymore, then they bounce and they leave and they move on to the next thing. And us nerds who are actually already into it have to try to pick up the pieces from there. So this is bad for women, because I'm telling you, just the climate and the space in general, it's hard for me to even just trying to befriend women, or even on the online space and stuff. You just automatically assume, oh, woke. Oh, she's going to hate me. She ain't going to like me because I'm offensive, right? Because I'm not politically correct. So, and it's sad that it's come to that. And I've seen a lot of people have misconceptions about me, or when they'll watch my video and they'll say, oh, initially when I saw your thumbnail, I thought you were going to be all woke, especially since I have tattoos and stuff. I thought you were going to be a woke libtard and this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, wow, actually, you're really cool. Or they say that. I'm not saying I'm cool, but I digress. That's the impression it gets. Chrissy Mayer, when she asked me to go on her podcast the first time, I don't know, it's been like 2 years ago now almost. I didn't even answer her initial email, like her husband, he's the one who reached out. But when I saw Chrissy Mayer, I just saw, oh, it's a woman with a podcast. I'm not going to go on some woman's podcast. She's going to hate me. She's going to be woke. She's going to be a feminist. Like, she's going to hate me. That's my immediate knee-jerk reaction. And then after the second follow-up email, I look at her stuff and I'm like, oh, she's really cool. And so this stuff ruins things for women. This is ruining the image of women who aren't a part of this, land whale, blue-haired feminist, insufferable kind of movements. So yeah, it's really messed up. But when it comes to, and in this case with them, why would someone like Kathleen Kennedy hire a director who, well, first of all, she's been already trying to insert the message into everything that she touches. This is par for the course lately. It has been crashing and burning, but they are getting BlackRock money. If it wasn't for that, I mean, how could they even sustain? I don't know how they're still sustaining, because the general audiences do not like it and they're not supporting it in the same way that they are the other stuff. So my thing as a Christian, and the way that I see things like this is, I think that this is a lot more nefarious than surface level. There obviously are some, women in this case, or just general people who are like, oh, okay, we want to take this fun thing and we want to insert our politics into it. We want to kind of force our ideologies on people. But I do think it's more nefarious than that. I think that Satan plays a huge role right now. The world is Satan's playground until Jesus returns. And so for that reason, I mean, he's going to want to corrupt as many souls as possible and keep them away from Jesus Christ and salvation through Jesus Christ. And what's one way to do that? Infiltrate the entertainment industry. I mean, look at Lucifer was a musician, a beautiful musician, right? And so, I mean, we've seen just the music industry super corrupt, Hollywood even the NFL, even like these professional sports, movies, all this stuff, and the gaming industry. So you can't tell me that Satan doesn't have his grubby paws in all of this, right? And I do think that that is the case. And I do think that's one reason why we see a lot of this stuff is packaged in the form of activism, because it has to have a pretty package. It has to seem like it's something good, right? Satan comes in the form of an angel of light, right? So whenever Satan does try to corrupt people, he's not going to do so as much in the whole like, oh yeah, haha, we're going to tell people to do obviously bad things. We're all going to be bad guys. Hey, I'm the bad guy, because that's not going to win as many people over, right? So when you package something as good, then all of a sudden people start accepting it. Look at how quickly it took society to accept sin with the LGBT movement, right? You know what I mean? Look how quickly, and a lot of people are bamboozled into that. I grew up Christian my entire life. I mean, in my adult years, I went through a time of a kind of a brief rebellious phase, but I grew up Christian, very like church every Sunday, all that sort of thing. And I got bamboozled into that ally. Oh, I've got to be an ally type thing, because it was packaged in a way to where, oh, this is a good thing. We just care about people. Love is love. All this stuff. Look how it's all framed as a positive. Let people love who they want to love. And they frame it as something as love. Okay. And let's be real. And this is going to get, for me, even saying this would get a ton of backlash, but that isn't love. You can't have love without God. God is love. So there's no such thing as LGTV love. There's not. It does not exist. So in that same vein, let's look at how people were so quick to accept even look at the transgender ideologies. People are mutilating their bodies. It's bad enough that adults are doing it, but children, okay, they are stunting children's development. They're putting children on hormone blockers, keeping them from developing into healthy adults. All right. And all the complications, and we're only seeing the beginning signs of that, because this hasn't even been a thing in the grand scheme of things for that long. So just wait until we see more long-term effects. It is terrible. Now, if you would have just outright moved forward, if Satan would have influenced people and said, hey, let's stop children from having puberty and make them brainwash them into thinking that they're the opposite gender. If you say it like that, what's that going to do? People are automatically going to be like, whoa, you're insane. What are you even talking about? But when you frame it as this activism, okay, oh, we're just helping children. They will unalive themselves otherwise. We're doing this for the children. They're being their true selves. Notice how everything is always packaged that way. Everything is always delivered that way. All of these horrific monstrosities, right, are packaged in a positive, loving way. And oh, how dare you be against this? You are against this child wanting to be their true self. If you do not support mutilating this child, then you will not let them be their true self? How dare you? And then you get treated like the bad guy. And just trying to be a Bible-following Christian online, like in a public, right? Instead of this and talking about Satan hijacking thing, look how Satan has hijacked the church as well. I mean, the Bible speaks of corrupt churches, and you're seeing even in a lot of churches them accepting a lot of these things, or this whole notion that Christians are supposed to be hippies and passive, and you can never be bold, you can't be strong, you can't call out sin, because they misconstrue certain verses in the Bible to make it sound like you have to be this passive wimp, right? When you actually look at the Bible and you look at the prophets, you look at the apostles, you look at Jesus Christ himself, was not passive. Now, they will take certain instances for Jesus, for example, where Jesus was very peaceful and all that. They'll take those specific, they'll handpick specific things and act like Jesus was just a hippie that just accepted everything, right? But they clearly do not read the Bible, and they do not understand the Bible, and they're taking it and twisting it. And so when you are the type of bold Christian who speaks out against sin, who says, okay, we cannot accept this, right? Then we're told we're not real Christians. I'm told I'm not a real Christian for not being an ally, right, to the LGTB community, which is inherently against the Bible. Then I'm not an ally for not going against the Bible, or I'm not a Christian because I'm not an ally, which goes against the Bible. It makes no sense, but that's just how twisted things are in the world. So if you are a Christian, read your Bible every single day, because if you're not, you will become brainwashed by a lot of this hogwash, right? You have no excuse as a Christian not to be reading your Bible every single day. You can do it 1 chapter a day. So anyway, I went on a big tangent there, but I mean, we're seeing all of this stuff invade. We're seeing all of this woke ideology invade, and I 1000% think that it is demonic. I think that it's corrupting the minds of the youth and society at large. Society has also started accepting degeneracy to an extreme degree, and it's time that we stand up against this stuff. So anyway, there you have it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. And if you want me to read the Bible to you, you can check out my Bible channel, Bible Time with Melanie Mack. I have the end card thing, and you can just search Bible Time with Melanie Mack. Thank you all again. I'll catch you next time, and in the meantime, go boom. Miles Morales.